Okay, so time now for another bed rejuvenation. These are all new beds. I've used a few different techniques up there. This particular one, got a beautiful cover cropping. Got some daikon radish in there, lots of peas were in there. Got all that back. All the daikon radish put in the ground. I need to dig that in before I can start forming the beds. I know a lot of people don't like to till the soil, but to build that life in there, to start it off sometimes with a cover crop, just that first year, just to get it going. After that, we can use no dig principle, and then we don't have to dig the soil again and disturb all the microorganisms and life that we created. Okay, I'll get in, I'll start the rotavator, I'll get through it, and start forming the bed. You can see the large chunks of daikon radish have been broken up down in the soil. These will be allowed to break down, create beautiful passageways for creatures to go down into, for water to seep into, to break down these into organic material. Okay, so I've created that channel there, that V, ready to put some more organic material in there. Interesting, really. I've been doing these beds as well. You might have seen the videos. This was done with cover crop, straight onto soil that had been laid straight onto the paddock grass. These ones have been turned over. I've put mushroom compost in there, fertiliser, organic fertiliser, blood and bone. But I've covered these with the black tarp I used, and I've moved that down there. And when I was doing the V's on these beds, all the grass underneath was completely gone. It was easy to dig, no rotivation whatsoever. The only thing is, I'd used the black tarp on those. Some people don't like to use those. And here I've used cover crop the natural way. And this one, I feel, is not as good as this way. But I like to try different methods, to see what works and what doesn't. Obviously we'll see over time which one improves, but we'll still keep adding material to all these beds. Again, it could be that the chickens are closer to these and the materials flowed down from the chickens and the nutrients that cause more activity in the soil. But again, it's good. The observations we take notice of these things. It's part of permaculture. Using observation is a key point of working in your garden. Noticing small things, small changes can mean a big thing later on. Okay, so I'll go ahead, start putting these grass clippings in. Now again, normally I would put manure in the bottom of this, but this has come from a paddock where the sheep are, so it's actually green clippings mixed in with sheep manure. So I'll put that down the centre, get some organic fertiliser in there, some blood and bone, and just get this bed refreshed. It's interesting when you have all your beds the same length. You start working out everything that you need, and everything turns into like a one bale, one barra, one pot, and it just becomes a lot easier over time. And in the end, you don't have to think about these things. It's just all natural. So one watering can of seaweed. It just makes life a lot easier, and you can have things that are made. You've got irrigation pipes that are all the same length, so you can take them and swap them and move them around. If you've got cover for vegetables to protect from birds and insects, they're all the same size. You have set amounts of pipe and you know your spacing. So it just makes life so much easier when they're all the same size. Okay, what I'll do is I'll get the brown material on top of there. Got some cuttings from before. Been there about 2 weeks now, so they're well and truly brown. But I'll get that in and keep going. Okay, while doing this method, okay, so this method I was shown by a gentleman named Brett Cooper over at Limestone Permaculture. A beautiful farm. If you want to go visit their website, even go to their farm, it's absolutely beautiful. You know, if you don't have certain materials, it's better that you actually get those, what you can in there, into the middle, just to get that life started. You can always stockpile material later. You can do this sort of, you know, add in the material twice a year after every crop. So don't not do this rejuvenation of the bed just because you're missing one item. As long as you maintain those green and brown layers, you're still going to get it to break down. We're adding fertility all the time. So one thing is always do something. Don't hold back because you're missing one certain thing. It's not the end of the world. You can always come back and add that sort of material later on. Alright, I'm going to get the organic fertilizer and the blood and bone in, seaweed fertilizer and the bacterial go-go juice there. You get that in and then start forming the bed back up. One of the other things to mention is, you know, getting all your materials in the right place to make your job, you know, easier to work with. Now, I've just had to go and get water from on the food forest there. You know, in my mind, I'm going to be working on these beds, you know, for the next 20 years. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to put some water a little bit closer to these, you know, and that'll help with irrigation. You know, in the future projects, I'm hoping to put water tanks high up on this hill, you know, to gravity feed these. But at the moment I can put a tap in over there, a lot closer, you know, closer to hand. And I can also then run the irrigation off that tap as well. So yeah, just thinking about it, it's always good to you know, observe and think. So I'm just going to think about putting the tap up there and making my life a bit easier. Okay, so instead of putting a sort of a seed cover crop down there of lettuce, I've already got some seedlings growing. I've got an iceberg just over here and a little gem. I've dropped those in. On either side I've got 2 trays here of silver beet, more down in the nursery beneath them. I've also got just finish off the middle here, I've got some tomatoes going in, some sweet and some beetroot. I'm just going to mix that bit up a little bit. Not sure whether you can see over there. The eagles are circling. I do have some chickens out further down, but I'm so glad I've done that chicken run for the girl and boy. Such a beautiful bird. The Australian wedge-tailed eagle. Hungry, I bet. That's the bed planted out. One last water and it's all done. Okay, the irrigation line is now down the middle. Got the lettuce planted, silver bit on either side and all watered in. All done.